Have you ever been told you knew something you couldn't possibly know? That you read a situation too well? That you predicted how things would play out before anyone else even noticed what was going on? If so, you're probably an INFJ. And to the outside world, it can look a little supernatural. People call INFJs psychic, magical, or otherworldly, but what they're really seeing is something more grounded, more real. INFJs move through life with a mix of intuition, emotional insight, pattern recognition, and quiet wisdom that feels invisible to most. It's not about reading minds or seeing the future like a movie. It's about picking up subtle cues that no one else is even looking for. To those who aren't paying attention, it looks like magic. But to you, it's just how your brain works. You're not guessing. You're sensing. You're reading between the lines. You're holding space for things others are too distracted to notice. That's what this video is about. We're going to break down 6 very real powers INFJs use every day, consciously or not. Powers that make people step back and wonder how you knew. These aren't tricks. They're the natural abilities of a mind that runs deeper, listens harder, and connects differently. If you've ever felt like you just know things, or that your presence changes a room without saying a word, this will finally make sense. You're not imagining it. You're not weird. You're simply built to sense what others ignore. Let's start with the first INFJ power. It has everything to do with what you notice before anyone else does. Power number 1, advanced pattern recognition and future insight. The INFJ brain is always observing. Even when you're silent, your mind is active, watching for patterns, small details, inconsistencies, repeated behaviors, tone shifts, and tiny reactions. While others focus on what's in front of them, you're seeing how it connects to something bigger. This ability isn't forced. It happens naturally. You notice when someone starts acting slightly different. You sense when a relationship is about to shift. You see a new trend forming in a group long before others catch on. And what feels like a prediction to them is simply your awareness putting the pieces together. You don't need to see something happen more than once to know where it's going. You store emotional patterns. You remember how people reacted in similar moments. You quietly notice cycles in your environment. And all of it helps you read the room better than anyone. This isn't always about people. It can be about the future in general. INFJs often get a sense of where things are headed, at work, in society, or in relationships. You might say something small like, "This isn't going to last," or "That person's going to leave," and later you're proven right. People think you're lucky, but you're not lucky. You're just paying attention. This kind of pattern recognition is powerful, but also draining. You can't always turn it off. Your brain keeps scanning, collecting, and analyzing, even when you're trying to relax. And sometimes when you do speak up, people dismiss you. Until, of course, it plays out exactly like you said it would. That's when people start calling you psychic. But really, you're just trained by experience. You've seen enough, felt enough, and noticed enough to know how certain stories end. That's not magic. That's insight. And once you learn to trust it, you stop needing validation. You know what you know, even if no one else gets it yet. Power number 2, emotional empathy as a diagnostic tool. INFJs don't just feel their own emotions. They feel everyone else's too. But what makes this power so unique is how you use those emotions to understand people deeply. It's not just that you care, it's that you read people through what they feel, often better than they understand themselves. You walk into a room and you instantly know who's upset, who's pretending, who's anxious, and who's genuinely at peace. You don't need a big clue. Sometimes it's just a glance, a pause, a fake smile. And suddenly you know what's underneath it all. This makes you a natural emotional detective. You ask questions that matter. You listen for meaning, not just words. You can often sense when someone's lying, not because you're watching their mouth, but because their energy is off. Something in their body language or tone just doesn't match the emotion underneath. This empathy isn't just about emotional care, it's also about emotional data. Your mind gathers small signals, like how someone changes when a topic comes up, or when they avoid eye contact. These moments give you clues. You can sense wounds, pressure points, and unspoken stories, and you treat them with care. You can also reflect people back to themselves. Sometimes you say things that feel too personal, even though the person never shared them. You just knew. And while this can be healing, it can also scare people. They're not used to being seen so clearly, especially by someone who barely spoke. The hardest part of this power is the emotional load it creates. You carry what you feel from others, and sometimes that's too much. It can lead to burnout or confusion between what's yours and what's theirs. But with boundaries, this power becomes something rare and life-changing. You're not just empathic. You're diagnostic. You feel people and know them. And the more you trust this, the more powerful it becomes. Power number 3, dream and symbolic vision. For the INFJ, dreams and symbols are not just mental leftovers from the day, they're messages. Whether awake or asleep, your mind speaks to you in metaphors. You often think in images, symbols, and layered meanings. It's not just what happened, it's what it represented. You might have vivid dreams that feel more like movies than sleep. You wake up knowing there was a message in what you saw. Maybe it wasn't literal, but it pointed you towards something real. A truth, a warning, or a reflection of something happening inside you. Even when you're awake, you might daydream in ways that others don't. You imagine what people are really thinking. You picture how events might unfold. You feel drawn to metaphors that carry emotional truth. A storm might feel like anger. A locked door might reflect a closed heart. These aren't just creative thoughts, they're how your mind processes emotion and meaning. This symbolic vision is how you make sense of the world. You don't just see actions. You see the message behind them. You pick up on themes, life lessons, and deeper truths that others often overlook. And you use that insight to guide how you show up in life. You might express this through writing, music, or just through quiet reflection. The symbols mean something to you, even if you never explain them to others. And often, by the time you do speak about them, you've already processed more than most people do in weeks. This ability can feel isolating. People may not understand how deep your imagination goes. They may think you're just spaced out. But in reality, you're decoding life through images your mind gives you. And over time, those symbols shape how you see the world and how you see yourself. You don't just remember dreams. You live in vision. And that vision is one of the most unique traits you carry. Power number 4, inner knowing and gut truth. NFJs often know the answer before they have the facts. You feel it in your body, in your chest, in your gut. It's not a thought. It's a quiet, certain knowing that something is or isn't right. This isn't guesswork. It's inner truth. You may not be able to explain it on the spot. You might say, "I don't know why, I just know." And usually you're right. That's what confuses people. They want logic, evidence, and explanation. But what you have is faster than logic. It's instant. And it's hard to unfeel once it arrives. This inner knowing comes from your intuition. It's like a compass that's always on. When someone lies, you feel tension. When a choice isn't aligned, you feel resistance. And when something fits, you feel it lock into place. You don't need time to think it through. Your system responds right away. This can make decisions easier in some ways, but harder in others. Because you often know the truth before you're ready to deal with it. You might stay in a situation while your gut is screaming to leave. You might try to give someone the benefit of the doubt when deep down, you already know who they are. But even when you don't act on it right away, that knowing never fully goes away. It just waits. And when the time comes, it rises again, quiet, firm, and calm. Most people second-guess their instincts. You don't. Or at least, when you do, you usually learn later that your first reaction was right. The more you listen to it, the more it guides you through life with precision. You're not being paranoid. You're not imagining things. You just know. And the sooner you trust that, the less energy you waste trying to justify what you already feel is true. Power number 5, healing and comforting presence. There's something about the INFJ presence that softens people. You don't have to say much. Just being in the room shifts the energy. People relax. They open up. They feel seen, even if they don't know why. That's because you carry a calm, grounding presence, and it heals. You listen without judging. You give space without pressure. You know when to speak and when silence is better. You notice the pain others try to hide, and instead of pointing it out, you hold it gently, just by staying present. People come to you with things they haven't told anyone else. They tell you they feel safe around you. They say, "I don't usually talk about this, but..." And you don't make a big deal about it. You just listen. You understand. And somehow that makes them feel lighter. This healing power isn't something you force. It happens because of who you are. Because you carry empathy, care, and nonverbal support without needing attention or reward. You don't try to fix people, you just let them be. And that alone makes you rare. You also have a quiet strength that others feel. In times of chaos, you stay calm. In moments of tension, you breathe slower. Your nervous system often leads others into safety, without words, without action, just by existing in your full presence. But this gift comes with a cost. You often carry pain that isn't yours. You take on the emotions of those around you. And if you're not careful, your gift of healing others can drain your own energy. That's why boundaries matter. You're not responsible for fixing everyone. You're just meant to bring peace where you can, and protect your own peace too. You don't just help people feel better. You help them feel safe. And in today's world, that's one of the rarest powers of all. Power number 6, strong moral and visionary insight. NFJs often see how things should be, not just how they are. You carry a strong internal code, a sense of right and wrong that doesn't come from rules, religion, or politics. It comes from within. And it's not about perfection, it's about truth, justice, and growth. You see flaws in systems before others even realize there's a problem. You pick up on dishonesty in leadership. You sense when a relationship is becoming toxic. And often you know what needs to change, even if no one's ready to hear it. This isn't just about spotting problems. It's about holding a clear vision for how things could be better. You carry a dream of improvement, quiet but strong. Whether it's how people treat each other, how a workplace could run, or how someone could grow into their best self, you see what's possible. And you don't let go of that vision easily. Even when others settle, you hold the higher standard. Even when people avoid the hard truth, you feel it building. And that persistence can make you feel alone. Because while others are focused on what's easy or convenient, you're focused on what's right. This makes you a quiet leader. You may not want power, but you influence others by how you live. People follow your example, even when you don't speak. They sense your clarity. They respect how you stay grounded in your values. But it can be frustrating too. You often feel like you're years ahead in how you think and see the world. And when no one listens, it hurts. You're not trying to control people. You just want things to align. And when they don't, it's hard not to speak up. Your moral and visionary insight is not always comfortable, but it's needed. It pushes things forward. It exposes what's fake. Okay. And it reminds people of what still matters, even when the world forgets. You don't just dream about a better world. You carry the blueprint inside you. The powers of the INFJ are real. They might not show up with flashing lights or loud voices, but they're felt. Deeply. Silently. Every day. You see things others don't. You feel what others miss. You speak truth, even when it's not popular. And you bring peace, even when no one asked for it. These aren't just quirks. They're your gifts. And they're powerful, not because they're loud, but because they change things. Quietly. Consistently. From the inside out. The world often misunderstands you because it doesn't know how to measure what can't be seen. But you don't need to be measured. You need to be trusted, starting with trusting yourself. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to guide, to heal, to see clearly, and to live with purpose, even if no one fully understands how you do it. So own these powers. Don't downplay them. Don't hide them. And don't wait for permission to use them. You already know what's real. That's your gift. Now go live like it.